Good morning, tubers. Matt M. Roy back again. Back to you on a beautiful sunny Monday morning. This is Monday. Oh, can't look at the date there, but it's the 15th. Excuse me. And yes, my allergies are driving me crazy once again. First thing I want to let you know is, if you see in the background, I am reinstalling Windows 10 on my Asus computer. If you guys can look down here, that's that Asus that I got a while back at the thrift store. Reason I'm reinstalling Windows on this computer is this one is going. Yes, because I have the iMac now. This is the desk the iMac's going on. I have absolutely no use for this anymore. So I am reinstalling Windows 10. I'm going to be listing this for sale on Craigslist. But before I do that, and Eric, you'll probably appreciate this, I'm going to go ahead and install two very important pieces of hardware that'll probably help me sell it. Number one is this GTX 560 card that Eric Brunhammer sent me for my birthday. Thank you very much, Eric. I was originally planning on keeping it and using this as a secondary gaming system, but with the iMac, unfortunately, I just don't have any room for it. And number two, to support that video card, I am going to be putting in this Thermaltake TR2600, which you guys that have watched my channel for any length of time have probably seen already. I've showed that in several other vlogs, but I have not had a chance to do that yet. I want to reinstall Windows first, make sure there's a fresh install on there, and then we'll go ahead and install those parts. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and film it because I'm kind of in a time crunch to get this built. Plus, most of you guys have seen video card and power supply installs, so I don't want to bore you guys with that. But yes, this one is going. I have been working on the iMac this morning. I want to thank a fellow Facebook and YouTube subscriber who I'm not going to mention his name. I don't know if he wants me to, but he let me have a one of his codes for Microsoft Office 2016 Home and Business. So I actually have Microsoft Office installed on that iMac. So you know who you are. I really appreciate that. I put on some free Fronto, I think it's called. It's a photo editing software. I will be showing you that later, guys, once I get everything set up and I actually get the iMac up here, because right now it's still sitting on the center island in my kitchen. I am very, very happy with it so far, though. Eric, I agree with you. With the 4 gigs of RAM, when you start multitasking, it does start getting very slow. So my number one priority, once I sell this system and get some extra money, is go ahead and bump that up. And I am definitely going to be bringing that up to 16 gigabytes, because since I'm not going to be upgrading that to an SSD, at least for the foreseeable future, I want to have as much memory in that as possible. I'm not saying that I never am going to put an SSD in there, but it's not going to happen at least for 5 or 6 months. We're talking way in the future, because with the trip coming up and all the things I have to do to prepare for that, I just don't really have the time to work on putting an SSD in there. And it is more complicated in that computer, because you actually have to, from what I understand, you have to break the seal on the glass, because you actually have to take the glass and the screen out to be able to get to the hard drive. So like I said, I just don't feel like doing that right now. I may not do it at all, but we'll just have to see what happens in the future. If the hard drive is just too slow for my needs, and I may have no choice but to put it in SSD. And of course, there are other options too. I was reading online that for people that don't really want to break into their iMacs with an SSD in, an external one is not out of the question, because with a Mac, you can set it to boot from any drive that you want. So basically, I could put an SSD in an external enclosure, plug it into one of the USB ports, or even the Thunderbolt port on there. But that wouldn't be ideal, because ideally you never really want to have your boot drive as an external drive, because heaven forbid something happened to that external drive. You know, you had somebody over, or in my case, the cat got on the desk and knocked it off, then I would be up you-know-what creek without a paddle. So a lot of options. I'm going to take it one step at a time, because once again, I am not a huge Mac enthusiast yet, but I'm telling you, that that iMac's probably gonna make me a convert. I am really impressed with it so far. Even with the 4 gigabytes of RAM running Sierra, the latest operating system, as long as I'm not multitasking, it is very speedy. It's just when I open multiple applications, I notice that the computer slows down to a crawl. So today, my goal is to try to find some memory for this. I want to get it up to 16 gigabytes. If I can't afford that right away, I may go ahead and just buy 2 4-gig sticks, because I can actually do that, and then I can keep the 2 2-gig sticks in it. At least it would get me up to 12 gigabytes. So we'll just have to see what the budget will allow for. I got a few errands I have to run today. I need to run out to the thrift store because I think they're going to be putting some electronics out today. And I do need to run over to the dollar store again and pick up some necessities. Actually, I need to pick up some more wet cat food because they do not like the ocean whitefish and tuna anymore. I think they just got sick of it. It used to be their absolute favorite. Now they won't touch the stuff. So I see my computer's about done with the installation. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for a few minutes, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later. Alright, so I wanted to show you guys this Keurig that I picked up the other day from the thrift store. I've had some questions about it. This is very similar. Let me try to get a little more light here so you guys can see. This is very similar to the one that I got for Christmas quite a few years back. The only difference is that this is the K70 brewer. The one I got for Christmas was the K79. They're both the Platinum series. The only difference I can tell between the 70 and the 79 so far is that my 79 had a extra button down here just for brewing hot water. But it's not really necessary because all you have to do is take out whatever pod you have, throw it away, and then just push the brew button and you can get hot water just the same. Now, the K79 brewer, to the best of my knowledge, was only sold through QVC. It was a QVC exclusive product back in the day, and that's why you really don't see a lot of them. This K70 Platinum one is a much more common brewer. And I must say it works great. I did the normal clean out process. I filled this up with vinegar. Sometimes I use the apple cider vinegar. This time I just use the regular white vinegar because this one wasn't too dirty. For those of you that have Keurigs, you want to do that about once every 6 months to clean it out. You just fill up the reservoir to the top with apple cider vinegar or white vinegar. You can use either, though the apple cider vinegar, they say, does a little bit better job. You run that through, and then you run about 4 or 5, you fill this up 4 or 5 times with just regular water and run it through, and that keeps the Keurig clean and also makes it last a lot longer. It keeps the pump clean, cleans out all the lines, and it actually makes the coffee taste a heck of a lot better. All right, tubers. Well, since I'm not going to show you the installation of this, I will go ahead and at least give you guys my thoughts on the build quality of it. Once again, this is a Thermaltake TR2 series power supply. 600 watts, Haswell ready. They say bulletproof power protections. I guess we'd have to find out over a period of time if that's true. It's supposedly an ultra quiet 120 millimeter fan. This power supply was $45 on sale through BestBuy.com. Let's open it up and see what comes inside. First, you get this Thermaltake Cool Your Life. This is like their warranty. I believe this comes with a 5-year warranty, it said. Let me see. Yep, 5-year warranty. So they must have some faith in their product. This one is, let's see, this is just the user guide. Explains the different pins. Just so you know, this one has the 24-pin main connector, 12-volt ATX power connector, 2 PCI Express connectors, one 6-pin, the other 6+2, so that could be in 6 or an 8-pin. Let's see, 5-pin SATA ports, you get 6 of those. I got a peripheral port, or Molex as we like to call them, 4 of those, and then 1 floppy disk drive controller. I think I think that's really funny that they even have that anymore. I don't know who's still using floppy disks. Let's see, warning. Prior to powering up the power supply, please ensure you have selected the correct voltage for your region. Basically, there's a switch on the back of these that switches it from 120 to 240, and if you don't have that switch properly, you're going to have a pretty bad day, and I learned that the hard way. I'll never forget, there was one time a customer had a couple of desktops they brought into Best Buy. They were from Australia, I think, yeah, and they had it set to the 220 voltage, and we had to set it to 120 to work on it, and when I gave it back to him, I totally forgot to put it back on the 220. He brought the thing back. He said when he plugged it in, it was like the 4th of July, sparks everywhere. Luckily, it didn't damage the computer, just the actual power supply. Comes with a pretty beefy power cord. Actually, that's got some weight to it. And here is the main event. Let's see what this looks like. If I can open this one-handed. Maybe, maybe not. Ah, there we go. Ugh! I have the power, He-Man. I'm going to pause this for a minute so I can take the wrapping off. So here is the Thermaltake TR2600 power supply in all its glory. There are different voltages. You can go ahead and pause the video if you want to read that. Let's see, we got 3.3 volts, 22 amps on that rail. That's pretty good. 18 amps on the 5 volt rail, not too bad. I've seen the higher end ones, I think have 20 amps, but for what I paid for this, that's actually still pretty impressive. But you can pause the video if you want to read the rest of the voltages on here. Decent build quality. It looks like the cheaper plastic. This is definitely a matte finish. You could definitely tell that they cut some corners when it pertains to the actual plastic design, or the plastic they used for this, and the metal, because this is probably like a sheet metal construction. And then of course the surrounding areas, like around the power plug, those are all plastic, whereas on a higher end power supply you'd probably find that to be metal. There is the power switch that I was talking about, 115 or 120, and then that switches to 230, or some of them are actually 120 to 240 because there's actually a range there. I better switch that back before I install this and totally forget and fry another power supply. There is your big 120 millimeter fan. You guys can kind of see in there. You can see, I see a big couple of transformers down there, couple of electrolytic capacitors, a big, looks like a filter cap right there. There's a big heat sink right there. So decent looking construction. So we'll just have to see how well this performs. Now, of course, for the price, you do not get modular connections. Everything is hardwired into the power supply, but that's fine. They look like they're pretty neatly arranged. Again, you can see the different connectors. Got some SATA connectors, a Molex right there. There's your 24-pin ATX power connector. Here is the 6-pin PCI Express connector, and I think, let's see if we can find the other one. There's that 6 or 8-pin, which again you can break off, I believe, to make the 6 pins that I'll need. At least I hope it can work that way. I'll just have to see. I believe that's what it said, that you can actually still use this in a 6-pin environment. So that was just a quick review of this Thermaltake power supply. Once again, I am not going to be doing a installation video of this, just mainly because I don't have the time, and I'll apologize to you guys that really wanted to see that in advance, but at least I gave you a little review. I must say, for the price, this power supply seems to be worth it. But if you were to be building a gaming desktop for any kind of longevity, I would probably go with something a little bit beefier than this. Asus, I think, actually makes a really good power supply. A buddy of mine just purchased one, but that was a 700 watt, and those will set you back about $100 to $120. I'm trying to think of the other one that I really like. You guys know on my channel know a lot about these too, so that's my review of this. I'm gonna go and pause the video for a few minutes, and I will pick this up a little bit tubers later. I was gonna end the vlog here today, but before I do, I want to show you guys something that I got from Amazon, and I want to thank my aunt for sending me my birthday present, which was a $100 Amazon gift card. So what I got for that, Aunt Karen, if you see this, I picked out a Kindle Fire HD 8. They were normally like $90, but it was on sale for $64.99, and I had enough money to pick out this case. Now, there were a few different options, but I chose to get the Fintai, which I'm assuming is some type of Japanese or Chinese make. This is the, I believe they call this one the not the magenta, I'm sorry, I'm misspoken here. Just the red one, I don't remember the specific name. Let's see if it says it on here. Red. It just says red. This is the Finite Fire HD8 Smart Shell Red. So let's go ahead and open this up, and I'll show you exactly what this looks like. I believe this is very similar to the one my mother had. I'm going to break it here so I can get this open quicker. Looks like it kind of melted to the pleather there, or the faux leather as we like to call it. But here you go. got a really nice feel to it. It's got a matte kind of leather finish. Go ahead and pull this out. So this is where the Kindle Fire HD 8-inch will sit. It just clips in there. It clips in the four corners. Got the little port hole for the camera up there. And the one thing I really like about these, and I don't think it'll work without the Kindle, but we'll try, is they actually have an option, there you go, where you can fold it and you can actually just sit the Kindle up there and put it on the bed. You can put it on a desk and it'll stay there nice and securely. So can't wait till that gets in. That'll be another review once it gets here. But this is going to be it for the vlog today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Once again, I'm sorry I couldn't film putting the power supply and the video card in there, but time did not allow for it. So please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.